We've been conditioned to look for the big moments, the transformation, the before and after, the dramatic change that happens in an instant. But that's not how real growth works. That's not how lasting change happens. That's not how you build something that lasts. Real transformation happens in the small things, the 1-degree shifts, the tiny improvements that seem insignificant in the moment, but compound into something massive over time. For example, you read 10 pages. It takes maybe 20 minutes. It doesn't feel like you're accomplishing anything. But if you do it every day, that's 3,650 pages in a year. That's 12 books. 12 books more than most people will read. You do one more rep, one more set, one more minute. Doesn't feel like it's making a difference, but over weeks, months, and years, your body completely transforms. The small things aren't small. They are everything, because they are the only things you can actually control. You can't control when the breakthroughs come. You can't force the transformation, but you can control whether you show up today and do 1% better than yesterday. And if you do that, if you commit to that simple standard, everything changes, not overnight, but inevitably. Here's what most people don't understand about improvement. It's not linear, it's exponential. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 1% better. You end up 37 times better. That's not motivation math, that's actual math. That's how compound interest works, and it applies to everything. But here's the problem. You don't see it at first. For weeks, maybe months, you're putting in the work and you don't see the results. You're showing up every day, doing your 1%, and nothing seems to be changing. So most people quit because they think if it's not working in week 2, it's not going to work. But they're wrong. They're quitting right before the compound effect kicks in. Imagine you have an ice cube sitting in a room. The room is 25 degrees. You start heating it. 26 degrees, nothing happens. 27, still nothing. 28, 29, 30, still a solid block. But 31, and suddenly it starts to melt. Not because 31 degrees is magic, but because you crossed the threshold. Because all those small increases finally accumulated into visible change. That's your life. That's your growth. You're heating the room 1 degree at a time. And for a while, nothing seems to happen. But you keep going, you keep showing up, you keep improving by 1%. And then one day, everything changes at once. Not because that day was special, but because all the previous days built to that moment. All the small improvements compounded. All the 1% gains accumulated. And suddenly, you're different. You're capable of things you weren't capable of before. You've become someone you weren't before. And people look at you like it happened overnight. But you know the truth. It didn't happen overnight. It happened in 1,000 small moments that nobody saw. In 1,000 1% improvements that seemed insignificant at the time. I'm going to tell you something that worked for me. And maybe it'll work for you. Maybe it won't. But I still think it's worth saying. For me, faith has been the foundation. My relationship with God. Starting each day connected to something bigger than myself, bigger than my problems, bigger than my circumstances. And I'm not telling you that you have to believe what I believe. I'm not saying you need to follow Jesus, even though that's been my path. What I am saying is this: Faith in something gives you a reason to show up when you don't feel like it. When I wake up and I don't want to do the work, when I'm tired and discouraged and I don't see the progress, my faith reminds me that I'm not doing this alone, that there's a purpose beyond what I can see, that the small things I do today matter in ways I might not understand yet. Faith gives you patience, because when you believe that something greater is at work, you stop needing instant results. You trust the process. You trust the timing. You keep planting seeds even when you can't see the harvest yet. And here's the thing, it can be faith in the process. Faith in the principle that small consistent actions create large results. But you need faith in something, because without it, you're operating on willpower alone, and willpower runs out, motivation fades. But faith is renewable. Faith sustains you when nothing else will. For me, prayer is part of my daily routine, not because I'm trying to impress anyone, not because I think it makes me better than anyone else, but because it centers me. It reminds me of what matters. It gives me strength when I feel weak. Maybe for you, it's journaling. Maybe it's a morning routine that connects you to your purpose. Whatever it is, find something that anchors you, something that reminds you why you started, something that keeps you grounded when the results aren't showing yet. Because the journey of getting 1% better every day, it's long. It requires patience. It requires belief that the small things matter. And it's a lot easier to maintain that belief when you have faith in something greater than your current circumstances. There are going to be days when you don't feel like showing up, when 1% better feels impossible, when you want to skip today and make up for it tomorrow. Don't, because that's when it matters most. The days when you show up anyway, those are the days that build character. Those are the days that separate people who achieve their goals from people who just talk about them. Anyone can show up when they're motivated, when they're inspired, when they feel good. That's easy. That doesn't require anything special. But showing up when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when you can't see the point, that's what creates transformation. That's what builds the person who can achieve what you want to achieve. And on those days, you don't have to give 100%. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up and do something. Anything. 1% better than not showing up at all. You can't do your full workout, then do 10 minutes. You can't read your usual amount, read 1 page. Can't work on your project for an hour, work for 10 minutes. Because showing up builds the habit, and the habit is more important than the performance on any single day. The habit is what carries you through the times when motivation is gone. The habit is what creates consistency, and consistency is what creates results. This is where faith helps, because faith tells you that showing up matters, even when you can't see why. That your effort counts even when it doesn't feel like it. That the small things you do today is building something you can't see yet. You're not just building the business, or the body, or the skill. You're building the person who can maintain it. The person who shows up regardless. The person who understands that 1% better is always available, even on the worst days. And that person is unstoppable. Not because they're more talented, not because they're more motivated, but because they've built a foundation that doesn't crumble when things get hard. Let me tell you what happens when you commit to 1% better every day for a year, for 5 years, for 10. You don't just achieve the goal, you become someone who's capable of achieving any goal. You don't just get the result, you become the type of person who gets results. Because the real transformation isn't in what you accomplish, it's in who you become through the process of showing up consistently. You become someone who keeps their word to themselves, someone who follows through, someone who understands that small actions repeated create massive change. You develop patience, discipline, faith, the ability to delay gratification, the strength to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. And those qualities, those are what actually create the life you want. Not the one big break, not the lucky moment, not the overnight success. The quiet accumulation of better choices, better habits, better versions of yourself. People will look at where you are 5 years from now, and they'll say, you got lucky. They'll say you had some advantage they didn't have. They'll say you're naturally talented. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't natural. It wasn't a gift. It was 5 years of 1% better. 5 years of small, consistent actions that nobody saw. 5 years of showing up when you didn't feel like it. 5 years of faith that the process works even when you couldn't see the progress. And the beautiful thing, you can start today. You don't need to make up for lost time. You don't need to do something dramatic. You just need to identify one thing you can do today that's 1% better than yesterday. Wake up a little earlier. Read a little more. Work out a little longer. Be a little kinder. Pray a little deeper. Whatever it is, just one thing, 1%. And then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. So here's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need ideal circumstances. You just need to commit to being 1% better today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day. Small, consistent actions create large results over time. That's not a theory, that's a law. That's how growth works. That's how transformation happens. And if you want something to anchor you through that process, find faith. Faith in God. Faith in yourself. Faith in the process. Faith in something that reminds you that the small things matter, even when you can't see the results yet. For me, that's been my relationship with God. Starting each day in prayer, asking for strength, for wisdom, for patience, for the faith to keep going when I can't see the path clearly. And even if that's not your path, find yours. Find something that gives you a reason bigger than your feelings, something that sustains you when motivation fades, something that reminds you that you are building something that matters. Because you are. Every time you choose 1% better, you're building not just the goal, but yourself. The person who can achieve it. The person who can sustain it. The person who can become everything you're capable of becoming. And that person, they're not built in a day. They're built in 1,000 days of small choices, small improvements, small acts of faith that the process works. So start today, 1% better. That's it. That's all you need. Not perfection, not massive change, just 1%. And if you do that consistently, if you show up every day and improve by just 1%, in a year, you won't recognize yourself. In 5 years, you will be living a life that seems impossible from where you're standing right now. But it's not impossible, it's inevitable. When you commit to the process, when you trust the compound effect, when you have faith, 1% better every single day, that's the path, that's the process, that's how you become who you're meant to be. Now go, be 1% better than yesterday.